You think you're Sigma? Let's find out who's the real deal and who's just cosplaying masculinity. Sigmas, ever wonder why some men talk the talk but can't walk the walk when it comes to living that true Sigma life? Because being a real Sigma male isn't about the sunglasses, the silence, or the memes. It's a lifestyle, a mindset, a silent revolution. Let's get one thing straight. A Sigma male isn't just a lone wolf who avoids crowds. That's surface-level stuff. The real Sigma embodies independence, emotional intelligence, and quiet dominance. He doesn't chase trends, he sets them by simply being himself. Today we're diving into, these aren't your typical alpha versus beta playground antics. These are deep psychological and behavioral markers backed by real personality science. In fact, the concept of Sigma aligns closely with what psychologists call the introverted alpha, individuals who lead and influence without needing the spotlight. You'll see traits like high self-awareness, strategic detachment, and internal motivation. These aren't just habits, they're ways of life for the true Sigma. Meanwhile, the Wannabes, they mimic the outer shell without mastering the inner core. So if you claim the title, these traits better show up in your life. No fakery, no fronting, just raw, authentic energy. Let's break it down. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly where you stand. Ready? Let's go. Number 1, authenticity over image. Let's get something straight. Real Sigma males don't dress up for the world. They dress down for the truth. In today's image-obsessed society, everyone wants to look the part. Wannabe Sigmas will mimic the outer shell, leather jackets, brooding selfies, and that edgy, I don't care face they practiced in the mirror. Some even buy motorcycles they don't know how to ride, just to give off that lone wolf energy. But here's the twist. Real Sigma males don't perform asterisk, they exist. You see, the Sigma male is defined by independence and authenticity. He's not trying to impress anyone. In fact, he avoids the spotlight and social validation entirely. While alpha males thrive on being seen and admired, Sigmas are content walking alone, focused on internal growth, purpose, and freedom. He doesn't need to look mysterious because he minds his own business, thinks deeply, and moves in silence. And that kind of energy speaks louder than a filtered photo ever could. Psychologically speaking, authenticity breeds confidence. Studies in personality psychology, such as those published in the show that people who score high in traits like autonomy, self-reflection, and emotional independence tend to be more mentally resilient and fulfilled. These are the very traits Sigma males embody. Not because it's trendy, but because it's who they are. Real Sigmas wear what makes them comfortable. Not sloppy, not flashy, just real. Their clothes aren't chosen to impress, they're chosen to express function over form. Their fashion doesn't speak before they do. Speak through action, conviction, and character. And here's a gut check. If your personality disappears when no one's watching, that's not Sigma. That's theater. Sigma males don't turn it off and on like a performance. They love it. Quiet, confident, authentic. So if you're chasing a vibe to be seen rather than a life to be lived, you've already missed the mark. Number 2, silence with purpose. Ever been around that one guy who's silent, but not in the mysterious, intriguing way? More like awkward silence mixed with insecurity. That's not a Sigma male, that's a human loading screen. You're just waiting for something meaningful to happen, but nothing ever does. Now, real Sigma males, they wield silence like a weapon. It's not a glitch in their personality, it's a strategy. Silence isn't just the absence of sound. In the Sigma world, it's presence, it's power, it's control. Sigmas don't avoid talking because they're shy or unsure. They simply understand the power of timing. Science even backs this up. Studies in communication psychology show that confident individuals often speak less, not more. Why? Because humans naturally attribute more value to words that are rare and intentional. Sigmas get this instinctively. Their restraint makes their words hit harder. Wannabes try to replicate this by being mute. But here's the catch. Silence without purpose is just awkward. People feel uncomfortable around someone who's silent out of fear or insecurity. That kind of energy is easy to read and it pushes others away. On the flip side, a Sigma's silence is magnetic. It's filled with thought, observation, awareness. When they finally speak, people lean in, not because they're loud, but because they've created anticipation. That's the difference. A Sigma male uses silence to dominate conversations without even opening his mouth. He listens more than he talks, observes more than he reacts, and speaks only when his words carry weight. And that's not just charisma, that's neuroscience and social dynamics working in his favor. So the next time you see someone who barely says a word, don't assume it's Sigma energy. Ask yourself, is this person confidently collecting data or just buffering? Because real Sigmas don't just sit in silence, they make silence work for them. Number 3, self-validation, not crowd approval. Here's where the lines really blur. Many claim they don't care what others think, but actions often betray intentions. They post, they refresh, they seek likes. It's not confidence, it's dependence. What you're seeing is performative detachment. The truth? It's easy to say you don't care, but harder to prove it when your self-worth hangs on digital applause. Now let's talk about the Sigma male, the rare breed who actually care for validation. He's not driven by followers, praise, or public approval. Why? Because his compass is internal, not external. While others chase validation like it's oxygen, he breathes self-assurance. He sets his own goals based on his own values, not what society says is impressive. His style, chosen not to impress but to express. His worth, measured not in followers or praise, but in quiet discipline, integrity, and self-respect. True Sigma energy isn't about standing out in a flashy look-at-me way. It's about refusing to blend in when blending in means betraying who you really are. There's strength in that. Power, independence, authenticity. Psychologically speaking, this is called a belief that you are responsible for your outcomes, not others. Studies show that individuals with this mindset have higher resilience, better focus, and more life satisfaction. That's the Sigma edge. And here's the real challenge: building such a solid inner foundation that no one's opinion can shake your frame. That means knowing who you are, what you want, and why it matters. When you have that, the noise around you fades. Let the crowd chase claps. You walk past the noise, own your silence. That's not arrogance, that's alignment. Because when your self-worth isn't up for public debate, you've already won a battle most haven't even begun to fight. Number 4, purpose over popularity. Here's a question that separates the real from the fake. Are you driven by impact or applause? It's a simple question, but it cuts deep. You see, in today's world of likes, views, and viral validation, most people crave one thing: attention. They want to be noticed, followed, praised. But not Sigma males. They're not in it for the show. They're in it for the wannabes want followers. Sigmas want freedom. And those two don't always mix. You can't be truly free if you're addicted to approval. Sigmas understand this. That's why they operate outside the herd. They don't live to impress the crowd. They live to impress themselves. With growth, purpose, and self-respect, a Sigma's mission could be anything: building a business from scratch, writing a novel no one understands yet, or perfecting a skill that takes decades to master. But whatever the path, it's fueled by clarity, not clout. This isn't just personality, it's principle. Psychologists often refer to this as internal versus external motivation. Most people are externally driven. They do things for praise, money, or social status. Sigmas are internally motivated. Their drive comes from within, powered by vision and values that don't change with the algorithm. While others chase trends, Sigmas chase timeless values: discipline, integrity, independence. Things that don't expire or go out of style. That's why they often confuse people. Society is wired to celebrate those who shout the loudest, not those who move in silence. But make no mistake, when a Sigma male walks into a room with quiet purpose, the room shifts. Why? Because people respect a man on a mission, even if they don't understand what he's building. Being a Sigma isn't about rebellion for rebellion's sake. It's about authenticity. It's about refusing to sacrifice your soul just to fit someone else's mold. The applause fades, the trends die, but impact, real impact, lasts. That's the Sigma code. That's the difference. So the next time someone asks what drives you, remember, applause is loud, but impact echoes. Sigmas live that every day. Number 5, boundaries that bite. Here's a trait many fake Sigmas can't pull off: enforcing boundaries without guilt. At the core of Sigma, male psychology, lies autonomy, true independence of mind, emotion, and action. And one of the clearest signs of that autonomy, the ability to enforce personal boundaries without the need for validation, explanation, or guilt. Real Sigmas understand this crucial truth. Boundaries aren't walls to keep people out. They're gates that protect your peace. That's why they don't over-explain when they say no. They don't pad their decisions with 10 justifications. And they certainly don't apologize for protecting their energy. They've mastered what psychologists call the ability to express one's needs firmly and respectfully. This isn't aggression, it's clarity. Studies in behavioral psychology confirm that people who set clear boundaries are not only more respected, but also less likely to experience burnout, emotional manipulation, or codependency. Now compare that to the wannabe Sigma. They talk tough, but when push comes to shove, they crumble. Why? Because they haven't let go of the need to be liked. They still chase approval, which means their boundaries are just polite suggestions. The moment someone frowns or questions them, they retreat, explain, and sometimes apologize for saying no. But here's the Sigma truth bomb. You can't serve two masters. You can't live by your own code while being ruled by other people's expectations. Real Sigmas have internalized this. If setting a boundary costs you a connection, it was never a genuine connection to begin with. True friends, true partners, and true allies don't punish you for standing up for yourself. If someone vanishes the moment you stop people-pleasing, they were never with you in the first place. They were with the version of you that served them. So ask yourself, are your boundaries strong or just suggestions? Are you enforcing them with the quiet power of someone who respects themselves, or are you waiting for permission to protect your peace? The Sigma doesn't just say no, he means it, and that's the difference between being truly self-possessed and just playing pretend. The moment you stop over-explaining, apologizing, and second-guessing your boundaries is the moment you step into your real Sigma energy. Not everyone will like it, but the right people, they'll respect it. And in the world of Sigmas, respect beats popularity every single time. Number 6, independent thinking. Sigmas aren't rebellious for the sake of being disruptive. They don't challenge the status quo out of mere defiance. They do it because they think for themselves. This ability to question the world around them comes from a deep sense of curiosity and logic, not emotion or impulsive reactions. Unlike those who follow trends just to fit in, Sigmas stand apart by questioning the rules that others blindly follow. They don't just react to what society says, they take time to analyze and assess, deciding for themselves what makes sense and what doesn't. It's not an act of rebellion, but an act of intellectual independence. In a world full of copy-paste opinions, the Sigma's ability to think independently is a rare and valuable superpower. For a Sigma, thinking things through is the first step before acting. They don't jump into things impulsively. Instead, they process, reflect, and calculate before they move forward. This careful approach is in stark contrast to those who act out of emotion or peer pressure. Wannabes, for instance, often perform for attention or validation. Real Sigmas, however, think out loud, processing their thoughts aloud with others or in solitude, and then act when the time feels right. This independent thinking isn't just about being different, it's about being strategic. It takes courage to stand against the current, to question deeply ingrained beliefs, and to step away from the herd. Sigmas understand that this process can be time-consuming, but the rewards are immense. They don't conform to societal standards because they know that true growth and success come from forging their own path. One of the most striking characteristics of a Sigma is how they choose to spend their time. While others are busy scrolling through their phones, consuming content and following trends, you'll often find a Sigma lost in a book, studying, or contemplating new ideas. While everyone else is nodding along to what's popular, the Sigma is questioning, analyzing, and evaluating. And when everyone else is rushing ahead, caught up in the chaos of life, the Sigma stands still. This doesn't mean they aren't moving forward, they are. It just means they're doing it on their own terms, without the pressure of competition or the need to keep up with the crowd. This combination of logic, self-reflection, and courage to stand alone is what makes the Sigma male rare. In a world where conformity is often celebrated, Sigmas thrive by thinking for themselves, making them not just different, but truly exceptional. Number 7, consistent discipline. Here's where the truth really hurts. You can fake everything but consistency. Anyone can adopt the Sigma mindset for a day or maybe even a week, but the real test comes when time is involved. Months, years, even a lifetime. Sigma energy isn't a fleeting phase or a passing trend. It's a lifestyle, a pattern that influences every part of your life. When you hear people talk about being Sigma, it often sounds attractive in theory. It's the idea of being independent, self-sufficient, and in control of your life. But like any journey toward growth and success, it requires a level of consistency that most people aren't prepared for. Sure, anyone can be Sigma for a short period when things are exciting, when the novelty is there. But once the excitement fades, the difference between a true Sigma and someone who's just dabbling becomes clear. The Wannabes, the ones who aren't truly committed, quit when things get boring. They don't show up when the motivation wears off. Sigmas, they rise to the occasion, especially when things get dull. Consistency is the quiet hero behind every success story. It's easy to get excited and take action when everything feels new and fresh. But true discipline doesn't make noise. It doesn't boast about how hard it works. It shows in the results, the steady progress over time, the long nights spent working, the small daily choices that build towards something larger. Discipline, when practiced consistently, is the bedrock upon which empires are built. A Sigma doesn't wait for external validation to keep pushing forward. They don't need applause or rewards to stay on track. It's about showing up, even when no one is watching, when the results aren't immediate, and when the path ahead seems unclear. The beauty of discipline is that it pays off in the long run, often when you least expect it. When you learn to stay consistent without the need for external motivation or rewards, you've already won the inner game. So what sets a Sigma apart is not just their mindset, but their ability to stick to their principles, their work ethic, and their daily habits, even when the excitement fades. They don't just act Sigma when things are easy. They are Sigma through and through, no matter what life throws their way. Let's make this clear, Sigmas. Being a Sigma male is not about dominance, it's about direction. It's not about being better than others, it's about being better than your past self. It's not about rejecting the world, it's about mastering your place in it. The Wannabes will always copy the surface, but the truth lives deeper. In your habits, your mindset, your silence, your choices. If you've seen yourself in these 7 traits, then congratulations, you're walking the Sigma path. If not, that's okay. This isn't a club, it's a calling, and you can choose to answer it today. Sigmas, if this video lit a fire in you, like it. If you're walking the walk, subscribe and join this community where we value depth, independence, and authenticity. Apply these Sigma traits to your life and watch everything around you start to shift. Until next time, stay true and stay Sigma.